This is the Baxing Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Welcome inside the studio. It's Thursday, Grant. The week is nearly over.
Woo-hoo!
Where has the time gone, Grant? I swear we just started back on Monday for our first official 5-day-a-week grind, and now it's already Thursday.
Well, you know, time flies.
Are we having fun while we're doing it?
I'm having
fun. Oh,
fun.
good. I mean, that's what I just want to make sure,
fun.
the saying is time flies and you're having fun. So I'm having fun. I wanted to make sure you were
having fun. I was implying
fun.
that I was having fun by saying the saying time flies.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm so glad that you're having fun, Grant. It's exciting to have you here, Grant. It means so much to me to have you back in the studio as we continue to get back into the groove of our new weekly schedule. You can now listen to us Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, live on Spreaker.com. You can also listen to us from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time on Sports Radio America, Live 365, and tune in. And then you can check us out anytime, anywhere, in the shower, if you're going on a walk, if you're just lounging casually on a couch eating grapes, having your feet massaged.
That sounds like a great time.
Hey, everybody listens to our show different ways. But anyway, you can listen to it on iTunes and on iHeartRadio and Spreaker on demand anytime you want. And you can also watch us and listen to us on Periscope as well. So hello to all of you watching us on Periscope. Great to see all of you. Appreciate it. Anytime we say anything during the show, you guys are welcome to comment back on it or just ask questions that we'll do our best to respond to on air as well, as long as they're appropriate. You know, we talked about it earlier yesterday. We had a gentleman on Monday that was very frivolous with the wording that he was using to describe certain NFL teams, and we're like, we're just not going to say that on the air. Grant, we'd be talking about something, and Grant and I would catch something that he would say. We'd look at each other, shake our heads no, and be like, nope, not going to touch that one, and just kept moving. But you can touch us on social media in terms of connecting with us, Grant. Where can they find us?
I wouldn't say
that was a very big reach. I reached hard for that transition.
I'd say touching is a little bit weird.
Well,
but you can find us on Facebook at the Baxing Grant Sports Show.
Yes, you can.
And you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat under the handle BG Sports Show.
Absolutely.
And we post on those regularly.
And what is and your Twitter?
Oh, yeah, I always forget those.
I know.
My Twitter, my personal Twitter is Grant's Rant, BGSS, and Baxter is at Baxter Colburn.
Yes, indeed. And remember, you can email the show also. We love hearing from you guys. So if you have something that's longer than 140 characters or something you don't want to post on Facebook, you shoot us an email, bgsportshow@gmail.com. That's bgsportshow@gmail.com. Then you can call and leave us a voicemail or text in during the show as well to anything that we're talking about by dialing the number 262-324-2385. That's 262-324-2385. Even if we're not on the show or if we're not live when you end up hearing these episodes, you are still welcome to text in and let us know your thoughts. Just let us know your first name and where you're from so we can give you proper credit. Like I said, as long as it's appropriate, we're happy to feature it on the show. Full show today coming up, Grant. We've got Connor Christensen joining us in the show a little bit later on. He's got his Fight Corner. Ronda Rousey making some headlines recently. I don't know if that's what he's going to talk about or not, but we'll see. If it's got something to do with Ronda, Connor's usually pretty good about talking about it. And then a little bit later also, we'll be joined by Bleacher Report's David Kenyon as well to preview the Green Bay Packers preseason game up against Chip Kelly's brainchild and the Philadelphia Eagles.
That should be interesting.
I'm excited to see what he has to say about that and all kinds of other fun stuff. More of a football NFL pack show today, Grant, which is nothing wrong with that.
No,
I wanted to start off the show, Grant, by talking about, obviously, one of our favorite teams, the Green Bay Packers, because I've been doing an experiment, Grant, that I thought would intrigue you.
Yes, it's interesting.
For those of you that are aware of our show, or maybe if you haven't, we use a website called whatifsports.com. They're powered through Fox Sports. And What If Sports is an awesome website. The way that it works is that they have an algorithm that they are able to take any team in any of the major sports, and you can simulate games from the present back until I think it's like the 60s? 50s or 60s,
something
I think.
like that. It's ridiculous and they have teams that don't even exist anymore on there.
Yeah, Baltimore Colts are on here. You can have Johnny Unitas take on Aaron Rodgers.
It's fantastic. It's really good.
Absolutely. So what I had the thought, Grant, I was like, well, the best way to, because people have been asking, how are the Packers going to do? How are the Packers going to do? Now that Jordy Nelson's, his ACL, this, that, and the other, what's going to happen?
Right.
And I was like, well, it's not going to be 100% accurate, obviously, because you can only predict so many things with a computer. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna run the entire Packers season through whatifsports.com and see how they do.
Right.
So I have my results for you. Would you like to know the lump record, or would you like to go game by game?
Well, let's do lump record first.
Okay.
And then we can go
So
through.
the lump record, and the way it worked too is I took off Jordy Nelson completely.
Right.
And there were games where even though I took him off the depth chart, he still managed to make catches because apparently he's that good. So I had to redo those games. I would just re-simulate the game so that way there was no foul play involved. So according to whatifsports.com, they believe the Green Bay Packers are going to go 9-7 next year, or this coming year. What? 9-7.
I don't believe that.
I know.
I don't believe that.
Well, let me briefly walk you through, and then if there's any game you want to officially know more about, I'm happy to tell you about. So they start off week 1 against the Chicago Bears. They lose 31-28.
What?
Take that for what it is.
All right.
I'll walk through it fast, and then week 2 they take on the Seahawks. They lose 38-21. Week 3 they beat the Chiefs 37-13. Week 4 they beat the 49ers in a barn burner 10-9. They lose to the St. Louis Rams 30-20. They lose to the Chargers 27-11. They beat the Broncos 27-21. They beat the Panthers 33-14. They lose to the Lions 39-17. They beat the Vikings 16-14. They beat the Bears 38-14. They lose to the Lions 19-7. They beat the Cowboys 30-7. They beat the Raiders 24-13. They beat the Vikings 31-24, and they lose to the Cardinals 24-14. One reoccurring theme that I saw a lot, two reoccurring themes that I saw a lot just by studying the box scores, was that, number one, Aaron Rodgers throws a lot more interceptions when Jordy Nelson's on the field. That was a common reoccurrence. I haven't gone through, I should have, and done the stats and see like how they broke down. I wanted to, but I have a life.
Right.
So even just doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, I was trying to do it last night fast, and my wife's like, are you ever like going to put your computer down and like, just stop? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
Gotta get this done.
Yes, exactly. Quick shout out to Jaden Haney, from the 49ers. So hello, whoever you are in Periscope. Thank you for watching. But yeah, so raw reaction 9-7.
No.
One other thing that I thought was encouraging is that Richard Rodgers, I think if I counted right, had hit over 10 touchdowns.
Wow.
So,
no,
because I made sure
to
to flip that Richard Rodgers was the starting tight end and that Andrew Corliss was not. He was the second string.
Right.
But even as the second string, Corliss barely got the ball. It was all Richard Rodgers. Richard Rodgers and Davante Adams had several multi-score games as well,
which the Packers are gonna need going
Yes.
into this season.
Yes.
Because now Davante Adams is the number 2 guy, so he's gonna basically need to be the new Randall Cobb, pretty much, because Randall Cobb was the number 2 guy.
He was.
So Davante Adams needs to step up, and Randall Cobb, to me, yes, he is a fantastic wide receiver, but he just doesn't seem, I don't know, explosive enough to me. I don't know.
Will he ever be an elite receiver in how the NFL views elite receivers?
If this year he can come out and improve on his explosiveness, because I don't know, like, how are you? Are you picking that up? Because I feel like
His explosiveness, like, off the line? Like, 'cause he's a quick guy. Or his explosiveness in terms of...
like down the field scoring sometimes and just making like the bigger plays.
Well-
because normally we see just like huge plays coming out of nowhere coming from Jordy. Normally, that's where that happened. I
course.
said Jordy and normally together. Normally, Randall Cobb, he's got like a slant. He blew up a play in the middle. So it's, I don't know. Sometimes Randall Cobb, to me, he is a great wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. I love him. But sometimes I think he is the number 2 guy because, well, now he's the number 1 guy.
Yes.
But he's not the biggest big playmaker.
I think Randall Cobb has had several dazzling plays over his career,
yes,
though.
he does have them.
He's got good, like, in the open field, like, when he's got the ball in his hands, like, say he catches, like, a 10 to 20-yard pass and he still has defenders in front of him, he's still capable of being able to make those big plays with his feet, by able to juke those guys and get upfield and get extra yards. Yes, he's not as physically built as Jordy Nelson is, but Randall Cobb still has a lot of positives about him that he uses with his speed and size.
Right, I know he is still a good player, and he does make big plays, but it just doesn't seem that he has just like the power and the.
Well, I think that's what they're
sometimes.
hoping they're going to get from Devontae Adams. Then they're
mean,
going to hope to get that from him.
right.
Ty Montgomery, maybe.
If he can catch the ball.
That's a very big if, yes. I do find it interesting, obviously. And I wouldn't make one thing I want to point out, too, is that some of the teams that Green Bay plays this year have lost players for the year, like the Chicago Bears lost Kevin White, their number 2 wide receiver.
Right.
So I made sure to take him out. Calvin Benjamin for the Carolina Panthers, made sure to take him out also. I made sure that Amir Abdullah was the starter for Detroit instead of Joique Bell, because Abdullah, all signs point to Abdullah as the starter in Detroit this coming year. It's very interesting just the way that and I know this is just purely the way it worked is that there was no accommodation for weather. There was none of that. This was I did switch the venues. So if Green Bay was supposed to be at Arizona or wherever, I made sure they were the away team, because you can set who the home and away team is. But I left the weather at 70 degrees every day, every game. Just because I'm like, well, I'm not going to try to factor in what a November day in San Diego is going to be. Like,
right. You'll be there all day.
Yeah, I just exactly. So a 9-7 record, Grant. I don't think that's going to actually end up happening. I think that even with Jordy Nelson being gone, Green Bay is capable of winning 11 games minimum. Going back and looking at this, I think Green Bay would beat the Bears in Week 1. That Rams game is interesting, though. Losing to the Rams, supposedly 30-20. Obviously, we don't know. But the Rams' pass rush is what's really going to, rattle Aaron Rodgers. 3 out of the 5 Packers starting offensive linemen are out injured right now, just with different things.
They're more
minor
things,
injuries,
so.
yes. But if the Rams are able to really get a solid pass rush up in their face, Aaron Rodgers might not be very productive.
Right, yeah. It could happen, but we have seen in the years past, and I'd say they were pretty productive in the 2010 season, winning the Super Bowl, and they didn't have a great offensive line.
That's true.
They, for years, except last year when they had, one of the better offensive lines that I have seen in the Green Bay Packers for a long time, years past, they were not good at all. And Aaron Rodgers felt a lot of pressure and was still able to get the ball down the field. Rodgers has great awareness of the pocket. He can move out, extend the play. I would not really be worried about Aaron Rodgers in the pass rush. Maybe at the beginning of the game, it would be difficult for him to
He's very good at
that.
adapting, though, with what's coming at him.
He is very adaptive, and I can assume as the game progresses, he will get a lot better with that.
Absolutely. Well, just as a recap for you, according to whatifsports.com and our little simulation that we ran, the Green Bay Packers projected to go 9-7 this coming season. Whether or not that actually happens, we'll find out. But with Jordy Nelson being gone, anything's possible now for the Green Bay Packers. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, Bleacher Report's David Kenyon will join us on the phone to preview the Green Bay Packers' upcoming game. And then later on, Grant, things just continue to get worse in the city of Chicago. No, not talking about the Cubs or the curse or anything about that, but Derrick Rose finds himself in the media for a not pleasant reason. So we'll talk about that and much more. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Welcome back inside the studio to a Thursday edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Remember, you can catch us Monday through Friday live right here on Spreaker.com from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, and also from 11 to 1 p.m. Central on Sports Radio America and Live 365 and Tune In. Grant, it's an exciting time because we get to bring in one of our favorite people, David Kenyon of Bleacher Report and the Sports Knot. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again, guys.
No problem. Well, for those of you that haven't caught on to the trend thus far, David will be joining us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, schedule permitting. We know David's a busy guy, but he's going to be joining us to shed some insight on the football world and make people like Grant and I feel just a little bit smarter after we finish, talking with him. So,
no, I feel a little bit just like, what am I doing with my life?
You were like, after he got off the phone with us on Tuesday with fantasy football, you were like, I swear you had like a book of notes. You were just like, oh my gosh, like that man. So Grant highly respects everything that comes out of your mouth. So be careful with that, David.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly. Well, David, you have some insight for us on the Green Bay Packers' third preseason game. They take on Chip Kelly and the Philadelphia Eagles this coming Saturday night. The first home game for the Packers, so you can expect the stadium will be packed to capacity to see their favorite stars. What can you tell us about the upcoming game?
Well, I think that you're going to see a lot more of shuffle at the wide receiver, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're going to see a lot of Randall Cobb in the slot. I don't think Mike McCarthy is going to send him out wide at all. Well, not at all, but he's not going to rely on him on the outside. I think you're going to see a lot of Ty Montgomery and Jeff Janis fighting over that spot. I don't know if Jared Abbrederis is healthy enough yet. He just got over a concussion. But I think the Packers want to leave Cobb in the slot, have Adams on the opposite sideline, and then see which of Janis or Montgomery are going to give them the best shot.
No, I definitely agree with you on that because Randall Cobb, he's used to playing in that slot position, so I think if you want him to perform at top capacity, that would keeping him in the slot and moving a younger receiver in the outside.
Yeah.
I feel like that is more of a possibility.
Well, that was, I think,
the
talk, too, just like even if Jordy had been healthy this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, David, that Cobb was going to still be more of a slot guy this year, and then Devontae and Jordy were going to be the outside receivers.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation anyway. Not because Cobb can't do it on the outside, but he's the best slot receiver in the league.
Right.
Mm.
He's a fantastic slot receiver, so why would you take him out of there?
Exactly. Let him play where he is, at his prime. And do you have a preference for who you think should fill that other spot? I mean, it's going to be Devontae on one side, assuming he doesn't just have a massive breakdown. But do you think it'll be Ty Montgomery, the new rookie, or will Jeff Janis steal it, or Miles White even?
I think Miles White is a non-factor, honestly. I wouldn't put too much stake in Jared Abbrederis making a move. I do like him a lot, but I think it's going to come down to Janis and Montgomery, and my personal preference would be Janis. I think Montgomery is going to get that first shot, though.
Do you think that Janis is going to get reps with the first team tonight?
Saturday?
Or Saturday, not tonight, Saturday. We're talking about it, so my mind just autopiloted tonight.
No worries. I believe that Janis will get those opportunities. I don't think Rodgers is going to play much. Aaron Rodgers, his practice reps have been limited, so maybe the signs are pointing to they don't want to have a meaningless injury to Rodgers.
Like that almost happened in the end zone on that safety when the Pittsburgh Steelers basically made a Rodgers sandwich.
Yeah, Don Barclay is not exactly an answer at tackle, so hopefully Green Bay's tackles stay healthy this year. Otherwise, Rodgers is going to be running a lot.
Yeah,
Barclay was
a lot of shotgun this year, I'm feeling.
Yeah, Barclay was really struggling on Saturday night, so that really raises concern for the health of the starting offensive line.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that one. It's going to be interesting, especially since the Packers are going to face a bit of a barrage of pass rush in their first 5 to 6 games as well between the Seahawks and the Chiefs and the Rams. Like three of those teams can really get up in your face, and if those guys are not protecting Rodgers, it might not end well for the Packers. regardless if Aaron Rodgers can get the ball out or not, he's going to be running all day and might take some extra shots as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the 49ers are a really good pass rushing team, too. Their defense is depleted, but they have a lot of talent on the defensive line. So that 4-game stretch, absolutely, that's going to be tough, and that's going to put the Green Bay offensive line to the test.
Mm-hmm.
They really just have a lot of games against good pass rushing teams.
Which I think is needed. I think that
absolutely.
They need to be tested that way because, I mean, it's going to show, obviously, the true character of Aaron Rodgers. It's going to show the true character of these offensive linemen. It's almost kind of a trial by fire for some of these younger guys, but how else are you going to really learn what it's like to go up against elite pass rushers if you're not facing them? It's like you can watch tape on them all day, but until you're actually in the trenches battling it out against, Nick Fairley or any of the guys that are going to be going after them, like, how are you supposed to know?
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's something you need to keep an eye on this weekend. You're going to see Philly bring some different kind of pressures, and Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, Vinnie Curry, Cedric Thornton, Michael Kendricks, Connor Barwin, Brandon Graham. I mean, that's a talented
That's a
group.
good grouping right there.
Absolutely, and I think if Green Bay sends out their entire offensive line and runs them for a series, you might see Rodgers. But if you see Barclay in there again, I highly doubt Rodgers plays.
How long do you think Rodgers plays realistically? 2 drives? Because you got to give the home fans at least a little bit of glimpse of the golden boy. And then I think if I was McCarthy, I'd probably keep him 2 drives unless they score on the first drive. If they score on the first drive, I'd be like, all right, Aaron, you're done. Thanks. Have a good night. We'll see you, on practice on Monday.
I think he's one and done if he plays at all.
Okay.
Yes, you don't think he's going to play the whole quarter, which they've been doing for the first 2 games?
No, I think after watching Nelson go down, there's going to be a little bit more of a protective part.
Yeah, but Nelson
Rodgers on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Nelson did go down in the first drive. So what can you really do? Just not play them at all?
Well, not necessarily.
Well,
you don't want to baby the
players. Putting your quarterback in bubble wrap, and you don't want to do that either.
Exactly. They would have. David Carr would have done that. The Texans would have done that to him the first year that they brought him in the league because he, got destroyed.
Well, they should have.
They really should have. He might have actually lasted a little bit longer. What do you? This is still Packer related, but what do you think about Aaron Ripkowski, the fullback that has turned into a special teams monster? He continues to make crazy good tackles and just continues to prove that maybe he does deserve a roster spot. But do the Packers really carry 2 fullbacks going into the regular season?
I don't think you look at it as carrying 2 fullbacks. I think you look at it as obviously John Kuhn is going to make the team.
Yes.
There's no question about that.
Absolutely not. There'd be riots in the street if he didn't.
Yeah, of course. You look at Ripkowski as a special teams ace. That's what you do. Because the way you look at a roster, you've got your 11 starters and your 11 starters and your kickers. And so when you look at the 2-deep roster plus the kickers, you have 46 spots taken of the 53. So you only have 7 spots to fill, and then you only have 2 more that will play on game days. So the people you bring on, they have to play special teams.
Makes sense.
And so that's where Ripkowski has made his name, and that's the exact place you need to make your name. Unless you're a rookie who's contending for like a number 1, number 2, number 3 spot, you look at the first rounders when Amari Cooper, obviously he's going to make a team. Kevin White, obviously he was going to be on the team.
Yes.
But back like with Janis, he made the plays in the preseason last year, and that's what got him all the attention. Ripkowski's way to make attention, yeah, he's a good blocker, but you have to make the plays where it matters the most, and that's special teams for him.
Yeah, and especially after you're playing number 2 behind John Kuhn, who has made a name for himself in Green Bay, who just signed a contract, and in all terms of it, is really a better blocker than Ripkowski, and that's you can note that to just experience and that Kuhn has been around longer. So Ripkowski just had to make, like you said, if he wanted to stay on the team and if he didn't want to give like the Packers a bunch of crap for wasting, quote unquote, a draft pick on a fullback when they already have a fantastic fullback.
Yes.
He had to make a name for himself.
It raised a lot of questions, I feel like, when they made that move, but I think that it'll end up working out well for them in the long run. Now, David, Green Bay's defense is going to be tested this week because of the many moving parts that is Chip Kelly's offense. What can you tell us about Philly, like what they're thinking of throwing at the Packers, and also just how the Packers can counter the Legion of Zoom and just the offensive options coming at them?
A lot of gap control, because they're going to put some read option out there. They're going to do some inside runs. And the biggest problem with Green Bay right now is the health of their defense, and they're not sending a bunch of people out there. So they're probably going to get burned a few times. Clay Matthews being out, that's a big hole in the middle.
Yep.
And against Philly, you really need your linebackers to step up, because if you can fill gaps, the quarterback has to make the read to pull the ball, and if there's a crashing end, he passes the ball. It's a quick 3-read system, and then he'll throw a screen on some plays, obviously, not everyone. But anyway.
Fair enough. Okay.
And then it's up to the cornerbacks to shed one block and the safety to fill. So there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of gap control, alignment, a lot of assignment football that they have to follow.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting to note that all of these moving parts are, so crucial, because people at home that are just watching, they're like, oh, the linebacker moved, oh, the safety did this, but kind of just how you described it with the more science-y terms about it, like, there is gap control. People have to fill and know their jobs, and I think this will be a good opportunity for this Packers defense to be tested. And like you said, there are opportunities that some of these younger guys will probably get burned a few times, but that's how you learn. I'd rather the Packers get burned now in preseason than, week 15 playoff on the line and Sam Shields or Demarius Randall or any of these other guys that are going to be in there get burned and end up costing a playoff spot. But preseason is always good. So, David, before we let you go, do you have a prediction for this game? I know preseason games are hard, so you might as well pick like a baseball score because of the weird 2-point conversions and everything. But do you have a prediction for us?
I'll take the Eagles 27-20 in this one.
27-20 Philadelphia coming into Green Bay, grabbing a preseason victory. All right. Well, David, thank you so much, sir, for stopping by. We appreciate it. We can find you on Twitter where, sir?
At Kenyon19_BR, KENYON19_BR.
Fantastic. David Kenyon, always a pleasure, sir. We look forward to chatting with you again on Tuesday for some fantasy football advice. Lord knows we're probably still going to need some, even during the regular season. We're excited. Enjoy your weekend, David. Appreciate you coming on. All right, Grant. Well, I'm ready to go to a break. I gotta get some more coffee in me.
Yeah, same here.
Haven't had enough coffee. Got to get some. Where's the intern? We still need an intern. Max and Grant still looking for an intern. Anybody out there that wants to be an intern, let us know.
If you're interested, you can fly your jet in.
Fill out a resume. Fill out an application.
Right.
Bring us coffee. You'll probably more than likely be hired immediately.
More than likely.
Yes. All right, we're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we will be chatting a little bit about the Derrick Rose situation down in Chicago. And then Connor Christensen will join us on the show slightly after that as well. This is the Bax and Grand Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Welcome back inside the studio. We had an opportunity to chat with Bleacher Report and the Sports Knots David Kenyon last segment as we were chatting with him about the upcoming Green Bay Packers preseason game as they take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Hello and welcome to all of you back into the show. For those of you watching us on Periscope, thank you so much. Great to see you all out there. And for those of you that are listening to us on Spreaker and Sports Radio America, hello to all of you as well. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at BG Sports Show. He's at Grant's Rant, BGSS. I am at Baxter Colburn. Well, Grant, headlines that you don't like to normally see.
No, not at all.
Now, nothing is official, so we are going to be very careful of how we proceed, but we are just reporting the news as it has been brought to our attention. But if some of you have not heard, last night reports were coming out saying that the Chicago Bulls' main man, Derrick Rose, is being sued for rape. He is reportedly being sued for drugging and raping his ex-girlfriend. So anytime you hear something like this, Grant, it just breaks your heart.
Yeah, it's very serious.
And it's very serious stuff. I mean, we're usually pretty lighthearted here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show, but for things of this nature, we try to take a more sensitive and conservative view on it. But like I said, there's no official ruling on whether or not he will be charged or nothing. This is a report that was brought to our attention by Fansided.com and TMZ Sports as well.
And it's reported that she was invited. They were actually dating, and then she tried to drug her. It didn't work. She ran away, and then she went to her apartment, and him and some friends broke into her apartment. So that is the report right now. And just kind of, Maxter, unless you had anything else, I'd kind of like to switch gears with that.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, just talking about in other, even in the same city. Mm-hmm. Well, same city sports that happen in different cities.
Yes.
But another Chicago's player, Patrick Kane, he still has his rape allegation that he's dealing with. And then there has been... with football, there was the Ray Rice, and him punching his fiancée, his now wife, in the elevator and knocking her out. And we have all of these abuse things that now we have to deal with, and all these allegations coming out, and are these people telling the truth? They're just... Are they just trying to get money, or are they actually is stuff happening?
Yeah.
But players are getting away with it because of their status, and
which is not good at all.
No,
it's absolutely not.
It's becoming a big problem.
It is, and I think that it's an unfortunate thing because just because you make millions of dollars a year and are a high-profile athlete for your city's team doesn't mean that you can go out and kill somebody, punch a female, rape somebody, do anything that's against the law. And get away with it.
Yeah, but then the thing that raises concern is that this happened in 2013.
Yes.
And she hasn't brought it up until now. And people are questioning...
why she waited so long. It's been 2 years.
Right. Yeah, and we have to... C-Plat 10 says, let me see the evidence before I cite either way.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right.
And you're right. And that's why we're not trying to judge.
We're trying to stay as... middle of the road as possible.
Yes.
Is she...
We've seen cases on both sides where it has been the guy. It's been the guy's fault.
Right.
Or whoever the one party's involved, if someone was raped, where it really was that. And then we've seen the other side where, you're making millions of dollars. Oh, I'm claiming that, you did bad things to me, and I'm going to take all your money. So it can go both ways. C-Plat 10 on Periscope makes a good point, though, saying that let's, wait and see the evidence. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And like you said, too, you were wondering why it took so long for it to come out. And the statement that the ex-girlfriend made, she simply said that she was ashamed and embarrassed, as well as noting that she was afraid of how her family would take it.
Right, which makes sense.
Yes.
But, I mean, once again, looking at not having any evidence, it's how can we really judge on that? And my big thing is, how can we stop this from happening in the future? Is there a way? Is there a way to just, put athletes in, this bubble and say, behave? Because
I wish.
But even if they are behaving, what if something just people are trying to take advantage of them?
Exactly.
But it's just a really really big problem.
Exactly.
And I just don't know how to fix it, and it's getting worse and worse too. So it is a raise for concern.
Exactly. So we'll hope for, I guess, the best situation to work itself out, that justice will be served in some way, shape, or form for this. So to the Chicago Bulls organization and to Derrick Rose and Derrick Rose's ex-girlfriend as well. So hopefully everything can be taken care of, and we can move on from it and have better news to report on in the future. So we're going to go to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Connor Christensen's Fight Corner. I'm hoping he's going to talk about Ronda Rousey, because it's just, I can actually, talk.
Right,
He talks about Ronda instead of like these random off-the-wall fighters. He's like, have you heard about... He's like, no, I haven't.
No, we just know about Ronda Rousey
Exactly.
destroying people.
That's all we care about. Exactly. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we got that and so much more. This is the Bax and Grand Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Welcome back inside the studio. Remember, you can catch us, Grant, 5 days a week now. Did you know that?
I
did. Did you know you have to come to work 5 days a week now?
I know, because I'm here.
I hope so. It's a Thursday. You're not supposed to be in work on a Thursday.
I guess that's what my brain was thinking this morning.
Must have
or something.
But it's okay.
Know.
You made it to the studio in time.
I made it on
Everyone's
time.
cool.
Worry.
Everyone chill. But for those of you that didn't know, you can now listen to us Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, live on Spreaker.com. You can watch us on Periscope Live as well. And then you can listen to us from 11 to 1 p.m. Central on Sports Radio America and Live 365, and tune in as well. I love it.
Totally. So many places.
Totally.
So many places. That's great.
So many people. So many exciting times. And another exciting person is Connor Christensen. So it is Thursday, so it is time for Connor's Fight Corner. So welcome to the show, Connor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys doing?
Oh, just peachy. Now,
Fantastic.
I've been building it up, Connor. Are you going to talk about Ronda Rousey at all today on the show?
Apparently, by popular demand, everyone wants to hear about Ronda.
Well, who wouldn't want to hear about Ronda?
Who doesn't want to hear about a woman who comes in, UFC, just tears it up, destroys people, and like the last 3 or 4 fights in like 2 minutes and 10 seconds or whatever it is, and just totally just renders a person's body useless in a matter of like seconds.
Wow.
I would
when you put it like that, Grant. I mean, I think that's all we really need to talk. Thanks for your time today, Connor. I mean, we'll
so bye. You're all. I'm going to be doing the fight corner now.
Wow.
Fun fact here, guys.
Say that again.
You want a fun fact about Ronda Rousey?
I would love a fun fact about Ronda.
Pound for pound, she is ranked number 4 out of both men and women. So she is ranked 4th best in the UFC right now.
Ooh, who are the 3 ahead of her?
Someone I'm going to talk about a little later, Demetrius Johnson, Chris Weidham, and Yoso Aldo.
Where's Connor? Where's Conor McGregor?
Conor McGregor is at 11.
Oh!
He's moving up. But
He's
moving
at
11.
I thought you were talking about Conor.
He is actually not his division's title holder.
Oh,
So
and apparently
he's
according
ranked number 1, but he has to take out Yoso Aldo, who is ranked the pound for pound best UFC fighter right now.
Ooh.
So,
Oh,
Well,
snap.
when
worked it out for him.
When you were talking about
You gotta-
Conor before, I was like, Connor.
Connor's
like,
a
our
UFC
Connor,
fighter.
Connor's
You
going
didn't
in,
know, Grant?
wrecking it.
He's going to fight Ronda on
blowing it
UFC
up.
192. The first ever crossover is Connor.
Get destroyed.
No. Ronda, it wouldn't even take Ronda 5 seconds to beat me.
I get your Xbox.
5 seconds would be me running around.
If you don't make it out, I get your
Climbing
Xbox.
out of the cage while
Yeah.
crying.
Run, don't touch me, please. Tell my mother I love her. Exactly. Anyway, Connor, let's get to some real things. What do you got for us on your fight corner today, sir?
All right, Fight Corner. We're going to talk about UFC 191, which is coming very soon, September 5th,
Yes, sir.
in Las Vegas. So I think it'll be a great, see some great fights. I'm going to talk about the main events, so to speak. It's called the main card.
Okay.
Is what it's called. There
Why are they
5
called
fights
cards?
on the main card.
Is it just because that's what they write them down on as cards as they showcase them? For someone that has no clue.
I'm going to be honest. I don't even really know.
Oh my
to be
gosh.
perfectly honest.
How much? Why do we pay you to do this if you don't know?
So when's that check?
Well, that's right. We don't
What
pay.
am I
That's
getting paid
okay.
for?
Fair enough. We get what we paid for, I guess. But I'm assuming,
Yeah.
with cards that they write them down and then they show them. Blah blah blah. Okay. Anyway, I just was curious if you knew.
All right, I'll look that up, and next week I'll let you know why it's cards.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do some research for you. All right, but yes, no, there are a couple fights that I want to highlight. There is a women's strawweight fight. The ranked 7th Paige Van Zandt is going up against the Australian Alex Chambers, and if you notice, strawweight is not Ronda Rousey's weight class. So sorry again, guys.
Boo.
Less about Ronda.
Ooh.
The strawweight division is led by Johanna Jędrzejczyk. It takes me a couple times to say that one. I've definitely talked about her in the past. She's
I recall her.
explosive. She's very fun to watch fight because she's a fantastic fighter. She is unofficially ranked 15th pound for pound overall.
Okay.
So she's a big deal. And,
Absolutely.
I personally think that Paige Van Zandt is going to beat Alex Chambers. I think Van Zandt is faster, more accurate with her punches. Other than that, they're pretty much the exact same fighter. They don't usually go for wrestling. They can, and they can also defend it. Both of them can take someone down and defend a takedown really well.
Okay.
So,
which is good. Sometimes people are only specialized in one of those two things.
Yeah, that's what makes UFC so difficult, is you have to be able to fight in many different ways. So I think it's going to be mostly a stand-up fight. I think Paige is going to win with her superior speed.
Okay.
And so that's my prediction for that one. And the next fight I want to talk about is a male light heavyweight, which is 205-pound weight class. Jan Blachowicz and Corey Anderson. Now, Corey Anderson is not ranked. He actually just came out of the TV show, The Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, yeah,
which for those of you who don't know, The Ultimate Fighter is, I guess, kind of the reality show of UFC, where two pros each coach a team of younger fighters.
Okay.
And then they have the younger fighters fight each other, and then at the end of the show, there's a single winner who goes on to get a contract with UFC and fight in the UFC.
Ah.
So it can be really entertaining. I used to watch it back when George St. Pierre was
Oh,
one of
sure.
the
Yep,
coaches,
that name sounds
and
vaguely familiar.
he's my favorite fighter. So,
Ah.
But Corey Anderson just got out of that, so he is still unproven. So this is a really big chance for him to step up and make a name for himself. That being said, Jan Blachowicz should win the fight. And all things considered, he should win the fight.
Okay.
I will be very surprised if he does not. And he has been kind of in a rough spot lately, not winning as much as he used to. But I think that he should win the fight. And if he doesn't, he's going to have a lot of he's going to have tough times ahead trying to get fights and trying to get out of the slump he's put himself in. So Blachowicz, I believe, will win the fight. Whether it's actually, I think he's going to win by decision. And what that means is that it's going to go to the judges' scorecards, and they're going to judge the fight, and no one's going to get knocked out or submitted.
Which I think is safer for all parties involved, honestly. I think anybody would... Would you rather go to a decision, I feel like? I mean, that way, as a person, you know,
No.
okay, I'm not going to get knocked out.
I mean, obviously you don't want to get knocked out, and you definitely don't want to submit, but at the same time, you definitely want to knock out your opponent.
Right.
You always try to end your opponent during the fight. You never want to go to decision. You just don't want to lose. You want to take down your opponent without going to decision. That is, that's the goal anyway.
Okay, fair enough. No, I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, from a pain perspective, I guess. I mean, I would never do UFC anyway, but...
Well, I mean, you watch like famous. I mean, we can just go by movies here. You watch famous like Rocky, the old Rocky movies.
Yep.
You know, they always went to decision, right? And then it's all big and
Drama and built up.
And then,
And,
and Rocky wins, and then you're all happy, like, yeah, Rocky, woo! But if, Rocky.
That's
had
exactly
knocked
what
out
I
the
would
guy
do.
in the first round, it wouldn't have mattered. And
Fair
then there wouldn't have been so much suspense.
yes.
As the fighter, you don't want to go to decision. And I mean, who doesn't love a good knockout?
Right.
Oh,
Everybody loves a good
absolutely.
knockout.
People love seeing someone just get their clock rung and
Exactly.
reset.
That's why we love Ronda.
Yeah,
because she
Ronda.
knocks people out
Well,
in
I'm
16
saying,
seconds.
like, I was just asking aside from Ronda, obviously I want Ronda to literally,
destroy the world.
yes, like disintegrate the
Oh,
person
yeah.
she's fighting against. But I'm not necessarily, other people. I mean, it just, whatever.
I'm waiting for her for a fight where she can just like look at them and they pass out.
Yeah, they just self-destruct.
Just
We'll
uses
call
her
and she'll fight
mind.
you, Grant.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
Grant would literally just
Here, I knock myself out. Boom.
yeah, he punches himself. Oh no, she's punching me. Oh, stop.
Please no! Oh no! I am knocked out unconscious.
Oh, I have fallen and I can't get up.
I can no longer fight.
Lord save me.
Please don't touch me.
I need life alert. Ronda's
my
like, well, I haven't even touched you. Like, we're still on the weigh-in
That's
station.
how good you are at the weigh-in.
That's
Oh, she
definitely
knocked
how
me
far to
out.
go.
Yeah. Oh, I am curious, really quick, Connor. I mean, with Ronda, really fast. Have you heard her comments that she's recently made to Floyd Mayweather, like in retaliation, their continued spat that they keep doing on social media?
Yes, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, Floyd said that he makes $300 million. When you make $300 million in a night, you can come and you can give me a call.
Yeah.
And so he's flaunting his money in her face, and she comes back and says, "I think I actually make 2 to 3 times more than he does per second.
Yeah.
So when he learns to read and write, he can text me."
Ooh.
Ronda's more efficient, is what she's saying.
Yeah. Well, she is. I mean, she doesn't need
She
12
is.
rounds
I
or
mean,
40 rounds.
I don't
Or
even think she spent a total of 3 minutes in the octagon yet.
Yeah.
And I mean, Floyd has made a career out of hugging his opponents for 12 rounds.
Pretty much,
And,
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's ridiculous because Mayweather is not a nice person, and Ronda is
Amazing.
She's a nice lady.
She's lovely.
She's not. She does not take anyone's.
No.
Crap.
No, she doesn't take it from anyone. She is super strong. She stands up for herself, and that's awesome. And definitely way to go for her. And Floyd, and Mayweather's just not a nice person. So everybody in the world is rooting for Ronda because I mean, yeah,
Right. We love her.
and I mean Ronda would beat him in a fight. I'm going to go on record and say Ronda would submit him.
And she,
yeah.
yeah, and she said that too in a she said in a like a no rules fight she could take him.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If they're just like, hey, fight. Yeah.
The number one contender for Ronda's title, Miesha Tate, came out and said that Ronda would destroy him.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is just funny because it's like even the other UFC fighters are like, yeah, Ronda would win.
Now, Connor, I have a quick question for you. Not dealing with Ronda, but
geez.
just UFC in
We're
general.
going off script, Grant.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
I'm
know
going
what
off
he's doing,
script.
Connor.
Oh, boy.
I'm not responsible for the next thing that comes out of his mouth.
It's simple, I
All right,
promise.
Okay.
My brother has started up UFC and started UFC fighting. Now,
Like he's actually like participating?
not like
Or following.
He's like training.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, he's training.
Wow.
He's not like he's younger than me, so he's not going to get like to professional level. But
Give him time.
he's just like training
Sure.
for MMA, I
Anyway.
should say. Anyway, so my parents were very worried about this, and I was kind of talking to them about it because there's a lot of misconceptions. That's what I'm looking for. Misconceptions about UFC, MMA, whatever you want to call it. What can you tell, like, some advice for people that don't really know much about it, or parents that are concerned if their like kids
That's
are
a
going
good question.
into it at
That's
all?
a very good question.
All right, so you want to know my thoughts on how to calm your parents down, basically?
Yes.
Say, hey,
Okay.
Mom and Dad, I'm going to go and fight and get my head bashed around a little bit, but, you know,
It's fine.
we're going to be cool.
Right.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I am coming at this as I don't want to say medical professional, but I always view sports more in a medical mind because I want to do that eventually. I want to do athletic training, maybe physical therapy, something along those lines. So when I think about a sport, a lot of times I'll think about how can a person get injured, when what effect can this have on their future after their careers are done.
Yes, their general
And
well-being.
I will not sugarcoat it. UFC is brutal, right? It's not like WWE wrestling where, yes, you can get hurt, but for the majority of, fights, it's all faked. I mean, people are still jumping off things and whatnot.
Right. But it's
in
scripted.
UFC, you go in and you try to break your opponent. That is the point. You try to hit them in the head so hard that they do not move again. And they're right. They're right to be concerned about anyone who wants to go in and fight. Ultimately, it's up to the person who wants to fight if they want to fight or not. And when you think about time overall spent actually fighting, it's not that long. Ronda Rousey spent less than 3 minutes in the octagon, and she's one of the best fighters ever.
That's true.
So,
it's usually quick and painful.
With that, you could make an argument that your brother will be fine because the actual time spent fighting. You spend most of your time training more than you would spend fighting.
Yes.
And in that case, it's great to stay in shape and all that. But from an injury standpoint, it's not really like, oh, I went in and broke a leg. It's more like I've gotten hit in the head so many times that by age 50, I can't remember what a pencil is.
Ooh.
So
Comforting.
And I'm exaggerating.
Oh, absolutely. But I still get where
exaggerating
you're
a little
coming
bit.
from on that, Connor. So, well, I appreciate your insight today, Connor. Thank you so much. Your fight corner is always a joy. I mean, even if you don't always talk about Ronda, but we still love you. even if you don't.
Ronda.
We want more Ronda. Give the
Ronda
people what they
somehow,
want,
no.
Connor.
We want Ronda.
No,
Well, I
anyway,
can't talk about the same people every time.
That's
except
okay.
for Ronda.
You can. You're welcome.
We wouldn't. I don't think there'd be an uprising if you talked about Ronda and other people, but mostly Ronda.
Yeah.
I think people would be okay with
I
that.
suppose.
Fair enough. Well, Connor, thank you so much. Appreciate it, sir. We will check back in again with you on Monday for your new fitness tip. Enjoy your weekend, and good luck to your Vikings as well.
Hey, thank you.
Not a problem. Connor Christensen, the Baxton Grand Sports Show's local fitness expert.
I was like, where are you going with that?
Fitness expert, not fantasy expert.
I want to get a Ronda Rousey shirt or Ronda Rousey
It's
shirt.
Rousey.
Yeah.
Is it Row?
I think it's
Rosie?
Rousey. I think it's Rousey.
I just need to get. We're just gonna do an interview with Rhonda and be like, just set the record straight. Just tell us how to say your last name. That's all we want.
Done.
We don't want to talk. We just want to know how to say your last name.
That's true. Everybody calls it different. I've
It
heard
is.
it Rousey, Rousey.
Yeah.
I think it's
Rousey.
Rousey. I think it's Rousey.
I think it's Row.
Because I've heard
Rosie.
the ring announcers say Ronda Rousey.
Well, maybe.
So
not. And she hasn't killed them, so.
True. We have like mid-fight, and all of a sudden there's
Yeah, she's like, what'd you say?
neck-breaking sounds, and then all of a sudden she's back on the octagon.
Exactly. All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, Grant and I are going to briefly take a look at some of the NFL rookies that we think might be in contention for offensive and defensive rookies of the year. This is the Baxton Grand Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Welcome back inside the studio for a wonderful, fabulous Thursday edition of the show. We don't have any, throwback Thursday music, unfortunately, but we'll work on it. We'll get an intern on it, Grant.
Oh, yeah. Well, we should.
We
even
really
though
should.
we don't have one.
Once again, we are looking for an intern on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. If you fancy yourself worthy enough to apply. No, that's not it.
Even though we miss Laura,
we greatly miss Laura. Yes,
even though we greatly
intern
miss
Laura,
the non-coffee that she got us
is no more. I miss her Thingamabopper segments. That was
those
the best.
were so much fun. Those were a lot of fun.
I lived for the Thingamaboppers.
The mascot one was probably my favorite. If you don't know, go back. You can listen to all of our shows on demand. You can find when Laura was on, and she had every show she had a Thingamabopper, and it was great. They were always interesting and entertaining, and you had no idea what was going to come
Ulama
next.
Ball and Ulama.
There was just a bunch of fun ones.
Sacrifices.
Oh yeah,
llamas, human sacrifices.
Yeah, that was the one what they did in that movie
El Dorado.
Road to El Dorado.
Yep.
And it's like the circle, and you have to hit it with your hips.
Hit it through the hip, and then the losing team usually got sacrificed. And then she said sometimes both teams got sacrificed.
Or just the winning team got sacrificed.
Yeah,
That's what they were feeling. I'm like, why would you ever want to play this game?
Exactly. I feel like, and I asked her the sports-minded question. I'm like, how do you build a dynasty in Ulama Ball if everybody dies? She's like, I'm like, exactly. They were not very smart back in those
Pointless.
days. Exactly. Darn Aztecs and Mayans. Anyway, Grant, before we scoot off for another edition here and get ready for a Friday edition tomorrow, real quickly, you have your candidates for the Offensive Rookie of the Year this year for the NFL, and I'm curious to know what you have. I've got a few candidates for Defensive Rookie of the Year, so offensive is on the floor, sir.
I have 5 or 6 of them.
Good Lord.
Yeah, just looking at that I think could possibly make an impact.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll make one that I think will take the cake. Amari Cooper for the Oakland Raiders. I think he's going to get Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Agreed.
Just because he in Oakland, he can make a really big impact. He's our number one wide receiver.
He's going to see the ball a lot.
Yeah, he's going to see the ball a lot. So I think that's going to give him some opportunities. People are going to say, oh, what about Todd Gurley? What about Melvin Gordon? I don't think so. I don't think Todd Gurley is going to play as well as people are going to think he's going to play in St. Louis. And that's coming from somebody who owns him in fantasy football. So, so totally non-biased.
No faith.
I don't think he's going to perform as well. Melvin Gordon, he's the running back, but I mean, he could be number one, honestly, and he could get the ball. I'm not really concerned about
who's the number one running back in San Diego.
That's what I was confused. It says running back number 2, but I'm pretty sure he's number 1, but I'm not really.
It's how they're on the list. That you're
on their list. That's what I was.
It's how they're ranked.
I was very confused because it had other people listed as a number 7 wide receiver.
Yeah,
what's going on? Okay, that's why I was confused. But I was just going to say I'm not really concerned about him not getting the ball. I think he's going to get the ball a lot, but I don't think he's going to perform because of the Wisconsin curse. Wisconsin Badgers, they make great running backs in college, but they don't perform well in the NFL. Some competition that I think can actually, for Amari Cooper, I think Nelson Aguilar from the Philadelphia Eagles, he's going to see the ball a lot. TJ Yeldon from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You'll see that ball a lot.
Yes, they are going to rely on him in the backfield, running back if you don't know. I really wanted him in fantasy. Too bad he got taken before, but he is going to make a very big impact. Mm-hmm. And then the last one that I actually don't hear a lot of people talking about.
Okay.
I always screw up his first name, but Green Beckham, Dorial Green Beckham.
Dorial.
I think it's Dorial.
I believe so. Dorial Green.
But Green Beckham, he plays for Tennessee, and I think he is going to be seeing that ball a lot. He's a decent receiver.
Okay.
And that's something that you have to watch out for. I think he'll make an impact, especially with Mariota. Them both being rookies, I think they're gonna bond, make a good connection. I think they're going to be a pretty good duo this year.
Fair enough. All right, well, briefly, the 2 or 3 candidates that I have 2 official ones that I'm thinking. Vic Beasley from the Atlanta Falcons. He's a defensive end. He just is a monster, and I think that now that he's down in Atlanta is craving good defense.
Right.
They really, really
They
are.
really are.
That's one of the reasons why I think they went out and drafted Vic Beasley. And he'll be partnering alongside defensive end Adrian Claiborne, who is a fantastic player. And I think that Atlanta's defense will be very grateful to have a rushing maniac that is Vic Beasley. And then the other one that it's a toss-up for me on the two of them. It's a mixture between Shane Ray of the Denver Broncos, one of their defensive exciting, explosive guys that they drafted. For some people that don't know, he had issues with marijuana, and that's why he fell so far. But then the Broncos traded back up to get him.
Right, I remember that.
And now that he has been signed with the team, obviously, for a 4-year deal. So I think he might do really well. And then, obviously, Leonard Williams from the New York Jets also, who is proving that his record that he was when he was at USC continues to live on, as we saw him do some fantastic things last weekend for the Jets as they are continuing to roll in preseason as well. So who knows? It could end up being Jake Ryan from the Green Bay Packers. That's the best player. And it could be Ty Montgomery, you know?
Well, I mean, if Ty Montgomery comes out and absolutely destroys, because, you know, with the Nelson injury that opens things up, you never know. If he plays well on the outside.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, yep, you never know. But I highly doubt it.
Yeah. No,
I doubt it.
I agree. Well, Grant, it's been another exciting edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Special thanks to Connor Christensen for his Fight Corner segment today, and Bleacher Report / the Sports Nuts, David Kenyon, for dropping by and helping us preview the Packers-Eagles game on Saturday night as well. If you ever want to just check out our show, you can listen to us Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time, live right here on Spreaker.com and also on SportsRadioAmerica.com as well from 11 to 1 p.m. Central, and then on Live 365 and Tune In. Then on demand anytime on Spreaker.com, on iHeartRadio, and on iTunes as well. And social media, Grant, you can find us where?
You can find us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show, or on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. You can use the handle at BG Sports Show. Wow, I was struggling there.
I'm going to tattoo it to your head, I swear.
I knew it. I was just like, what are the letters? I didn't think about
we
names.
can't have nice things.
I had to think. It's a struggle this morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay. I'm okay.
We'll get some
promise.
coffee for Grant. All right. Well, thank you so much again for tuning in. Remember, you can shoot us an email, too, at bgsportshow@gmail.com. And then you can call and leave us a message or text in anytime about your thoughts about what happened on the show at 262-324-2385. He's Grant Coppersmith. I'm Baxter Colburn. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for Friday. Woo! Looking forward to it. Sam Wallace joins us tomorrow. Name 5. Oh, we're bringing it back.
It's going to be great.
We're bringing it back.
It's going to be
Name
wonderful.
5 tomorrow. An international showdown tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. He's Grant Coppersmith. I'm Baxter Colburn. Enjoy your day, folks, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
See ya.